I'm making a VR graphics engine.
What?
It's been a while since Notch cooked us for using Unity, and I've been contemplating my existence as a programmer. To prove to Notch that I am a real programmer, I've decided to make a rendering engine from scratch. Except we're gonna do it in VR because actual reality is highly overrated. And, unlike Notch, we're gonna code in C++. Damn! Now, obviously we're not gonna try to make Unreal Engine, that has 2 million lines of code. But what if we made a mixed reality Minecraft that we can play in both VR and AR?
Okay.
Now, we're going to be following these very important real programmer rules. We'll be using the OpenXR standard to access the XR capabilities of the Quest 3 headset. For GPU accelerated rendering on Android, we'll be using OpenGL ES. Step 1. Rendering a cube. In 3D space, we can define a cube with 8 corner vertices. We'll prepare an array with the vertices of the cube geometry. We'll also prepare an index array to define every triangle in the cube mesh. For example, these two triangles create the front face of the cube. We'll upload the cube vertex and index buffers to the GPU using the standard OpenGL ES APIs, then prepare the shaders to render a solid color. In VR, you'll notice that the edges of the cube are hard to see because there's no lighting. Let's add a point light source to the scene. First, we'll add the vertex normals, then in the fragment shader we'll do a little math to calculate how much the light affects the fragment. This is a simple version of global illumination.
It's lit!
We can also map a texture image to the cube faces by adding per vertex texture coordinates. If we map each face from 0, 0 to 1, 1, we get our texture on every face of the cube. Now to create a Minecraft block, we'll map the top half of the texture to the top side of the cube, and the bottom half of the texture to the sides. Okay, so I think that's pretty much Minecraft. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Nah, I'm just playing. Step 2. Hand rendering. In 1972, Ed Catmull, the former CEO and founder of Pixar, made a short film showing how he created the first computer animated hand. In his technical paper, Catmull explained how the bones of the hand are used to animate the mesh. Today, thanks to OpenXR, we can do real-time hand tracking on headsets like the Quest 3. We'll use the OpenXR hand tracking extension to get the pose of the joints each frame. We can visualize the bones in the joints using wireframe cones and spheres. Next, we use the OpenXR hand tracking mesh extension to get a 3D mesh of the hand that we can animate using the joint poses. Just like for our cube, we upload the vertex and index buffer data for the hand meshes to the GPU. We also upload the transform matrices for the joints as well as the per vertex joint weights that determine how much a vertex is affected by each joint. Finally, in the shader we have to transform the vertex by applying up to 4 joint transforms. As you can see, the mesh closely tracks the movement of my hand. This is how skeletal animation works. The hand mesh is like a puppet. The skeleton inside controls the movement of the 3D mesh. Every vertex is attached to a few nearby joints. Joint weights give how much the joint affects each vertex. Now if we render the hand mesh with GL triangles in a solid color, you can see the smooth shaded mesh lit by the same point light we created for the cube earlier. And now that we have hands, we can get started on our user interface. Step 3. User interface panel. I wanted to create a rounded rectangular panel like an iPhone or an iPad. To create the geometry, I first made a corner with a quarter circle. Now let's add the 4 corners. Okay, that's Pac-Man. Let me fix that. I drew out this mesh for the rounded rectangle. It uses the quarter circles in the corners and then makes the middle section with 3 rectangles broken down into triangles. Now with that geometry, we can create a flat rounded rectangular panel. We can make it thick by duplicating the same flat panel offset by the thickness, then connect the 2 flat panels with edge triangles. And now we have our own little iPad mini panel. We can now use the same rounded rect geometry to create buttons with texture images. Step 4. Rendering text. First we grab a font file from Google Fonts. Then we can use an online Bitmap font generator which takes the font file and outputs a texture atlas with all the characters. It also gives us this format file that has the details we need to render each character from the atlas. We'll parse this at load time. Then for a given string we can create a text mesh where each quad is a character and provide the texture coordinates of the character from the font atlas texture. And just like that, we now have text in VR. We can even add text as a child of the UI panel like this. Hey, does that look legible to everyone? Let me know in the comments. Step 5. World building. With a little more work, I added a selection state for buttons. These are 3D buttons so they get indented when selected. Next, I added an on-press event to the buttons so that we can spawn the different block types. When we press the button, our right hand becomes the selected block. Let's add a grass floor real quick. Then we just need a crosshair. Bruh. Well, at least my raycast seems to be working. In the crosshair update code, we just need to make sure that we apply the world scale correctly. Okay, this looks good. We can destroy blocks with a pinch or select a block from the inventory and pinch to add the new block to the world. Now it's starting to feel like Minecraft for real. I figured why not build a house while I'm at it. Now this is world scale VR, so I can actually walk into my house, which is pretty sweet. I also added some layers of blocks under the grass so we can dig down. Next I wanted to be able to pinch and drag to scale the world. Bruh. This bug got me feeling like Cell building the Cell game arena. Let's try it again. That's better. Step 6, AR mode. Now let's take our talents to augmented reality. Using the OpenXR AR pass-through layer, we can swap out the background for the pass-through video. Then we can use the OpenXR scene extension to find a flat surface to anchor the world to. Then we can build in tabletop mode. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, that's a wrap for this video. Oh, and let me know if I should make a video about optimizing this rendering engine. Please check out my next video and subscribe. Peace.